when you have the right assets in the right place with the right details and being able to prove it when tax, audit, finance, leadership come asking, or even when you particularly are trying to find something, or somebody else comes to you and says, I have this asset I want to dispose of. How do you know in your system, in your data, if it's not clean, which asset you're truly disposing of? So what kind of these things show up the most that I see over the years are duplicate entries. I see those a lot. Or ghost assets. And ghost assets aren't just necessarily those that haven't been inventoried, which means equipment that's been disposed of physically, but it's still depreciating on your books, right? Or worse, assets that don't even exist. I've seen this a lot too, but are carried on your books year after year, which also affects your insurance premiums, your property tax reporting, and all these different nuances, again, that people don't really think about when they're thinking about the data hygiene of their fixed assets. So I also see place and service dates that don't align with invoice records. So assets are usually assigned to the wrong category or cost center or the wrong property type, which is huge, especially if finance is inputting the data. They usually just put everything under P personal general, but on a tax world, that's completely different. So these are the things too that when we go to review our data, we really need to start looking with a fine-tooth comb. Okay. And when you start to uncover these things, that's where you start to see all these awesome bits and pieces that actually most of the time puts people in more of a tax expense, which is getting money back. So it's always worth your time and effort to spend the time. These are things that we can proactively do before we actually get to year end so that we're not in that position. So of course, what also happens is no documentation. So no invoice, no PO, no physical tagging. And that's a huge, big, huge red flag in audit. I've been on fixed asset audits many times for many different organizations, and it's always the same checklist. And what they're really looking for are these things, documentation. And they really want the documentation on things that you're manually doing. So again, when we're talking about the whole spider, and I look from above holistically at every organization I come into, and I say, where are we manually doing things and where can we fill that with automation? Because when we do that, we take 10 test steps in audit or SOX and we eliminate it down to 2. And those 2 are typically who has access, what access do they have? And is the system itself calculating accurately? And that's it. So think of those things too when you're thinking about data hygiene. This is where most teams find surprises when you start your year-end prep. And this is where you can gain serious control by doing a deep dive now.